Freedom Church, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you choose to watch this video. I thought that I would start making short videos just because of our current circumstances with the chaos surrounding the coronavirus. Our authorities are asking us to remain isolated as much as possible, and I would encourage all of you to follow those guidelines so that we can really curb the infection rate of this coronavirus, that when you do get sick, there would be a bed available for you in the hospital. And so let us do everything we can to remain isolated. But we are blessed to live in 2020, and which means many of us have access to the internet. Some of us have smartphones to make videos, such as this one that I'm currently making. And so what I thought is that I would start to make short videos to send to you with some biblical content, where I'll also be trying to apply it to our lives in light of our current situation with the coronavirus. And so what I decided to do on Sunday mornings, for those who can attend, is a Bible study through Paul's letter to the church in Philippi. What I'm going to do with these videos is to summarize some of the content that we saw, and at times I may even go deeper than what we did in the Bible study, just because I am the one talking, and it's not going to be conversation based, but more just me transferring information through this video. I will say, feel free to make your own video to respond to this message. You may have questions, you may disagree with some things that I say, you may have insights of your own, and I would really love to hear all about them, that I may learn from you as well. So what I'm going to do in this first video is deal with some of the introductory matter behind the book of Philippians, so some of the background, who wrote, to whom, why, and maybe a little bit of background on the church of Philippi. And then moving forward, as we go through the text on Sunday mornings, I'll be making videos on the biblical content. So let's begin now with some of the Bible content, some of the background information to this letter to the Philippians. So first, the church in Philippi had a beginning, and we read about its founding in the book of Acts, in Acts chapter 16, verses 11 through 40. And so this happened during Paul's second missionary journey in the book of Acts. Then we read in his third missionary journey, he returns there for a visit, and you can read about that in Acts chapter 20, verses 1 to 6. We gather from the names written in Paul's letter that Paul's audience was mainly Gentile. And there's another hint regarding the audience in Philippians 3:3, where Paul is talking about his obedience to Jewish traditions, and perhaps this would be in contrast to his hearers, implying that he is a Jew while his readers are Gentile. Also, just from history, we know that Philippi was a Roman colony. It was also the place where Roman soldiers would go to retire, so there was a lot of wealth, probably a lot of patriotism. They were proud to be Roman citizens, and so those are a few things to keep in mind as we go through the book of Philippians. In the letter as well, we're going to see that there were at least two problems that they were dealing with. One within the church, problems with unity that we will tackle in Philippians 1:27 2, 2 to 4, 2:14, and chapter 4, verse 2. But also, this church appears to have opponents, and we're going to read about that in Philippians 1, verse 28. So now, what about the date of writing and the reason for writing? It is clear from the letter to the Philippians that Paul is writing from prison. And so we're able to follow the story of Paul's life in the book of Acts. And the book of Acts ends in chapter 28 with Paul under house arrest. And if we compare the letters of Philippians, Ephesians, Colossians, and Philemon, we notice there are common themes, and also some of the people who are with Paul are the same people, as if all these letters came out of the same period of time. And so these 4 letters that I just mentioned, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, and Philemon, are known as the prison epistles, and most scholars agree that these letters were written at the end of the story that we have of Paul's life in the book of Acts. The context for this letter is that one of the members of the Philippian church, Epaphroditus, brought a gift to Paul, and you can read about this in Philippians 4, verses 14 to 18. And so in response to this gift from the church of Philippi, Paul sends Epaphroditus back with a letter to say thank you. Paul is very thankful for the Philippian church, and you're going to be made aware of this when you read chapter 1, particularly verses 1 through 11. And the theme of joy appears throughout this letter. And this doesn't mean that this church in Philippi is perfect. They also have a lot of spiritual growth that still needs to happen. And so we will see in Paul's letter to the Philippians that the theme of spiritual growth is quite significant. And so I think for any one of us wanting to grow in our faith, we can read the book of Philippians and see what the Apostle Paul has to teach us, that we too may grow in the way that he desired the Philippian church to grow spiritually. All right, so for now, that's all the background that I intend to be dealing with. In the next video, we will look at Philippians 1, verses 1 through 11. Church, I miss you, and I will try to be in contact with you by phone, and also trying to get ways that I can reach you with the internet, ways to get these videos over to you. I've created a Facebook group, so maybe you're watching this on YouTube or maybe through the Facebook group, but I want to do everything I can to stay in touch with you. And I would encourage, if you're listening to this video, feel free to call me anytime. Also, feel free to call other people in the church who may be feeling lonely in this time. We want to be there for one another. All right, I will see you again in the next video. Bye for now.